Hello again. I hope you like this level. The Louvre Museum in Paris has made a gaming partnership with Age of Empires as part of their Mamluk Sultanate exhibition. As part of that, Philadelphia has made a scenario of the Battle of Ayn Jalut, where the Mamluks were able to defeat the invading Mongol army and prevent their continued expansion. I don't usually play through levels normally. I usually have some sort of challenge going, but with this one being so new, I decided to play through it normally. So here we go. The level opens on a Mongol raiding party attacking a nearby village, and Baybars riding in to save the town with his small group of Mamluks and cavalry archers. After winning the fight, I get control of the town and some villagers, with just 15 minutes until the Sultan Kutuz arrives with his army to fight the Mongols. I check the hints to see what's going on, and it looks like this follows a similar style to the final Jadwiga campaign. The biggest impact I might be able to have is researching upgrades that will improve both my own men and the Sultan's as well. I have some side objectives that it looks like I can do to move forward faster. I head out with Baybars to scout, but pretty quickly run into more Mongol raiders and have to pull back to my castle. I finish them off, but Baybars is nearly killed, and I will lose the level if he falls. It's a serious thing to worry about, as I'm not careful, and a moment later, another Mongol raiding party arrives who manages to kill him. I start over, saving the town again, and try to be more careful with my hero this time. I follow a different path and find a Gaia-fortified tower that I can take control of. In this level, I can only build a few economic buildings, not even houses, so any buildings that I get will be a huge help. I also find a group of Bedouin camel archers that will join me for a small amount of gold. Having some extra cav archers is very helpful in fighting off the next Mongol raid. While I have been defending, another village came under attack, so I ride down there to save them from the horde. My Mamluks and camel archers counter their troops pretty well, and I save the town, getting some food and wood as a reward. There is another side objective to meet up with some scouts, and while heading towards one, my army is killed and I have to run away with Baybars. I do at least find another tower though. With my army away, I end up losing my town center to another raid, and I can't replace it. I play on and the timer runs out, giving me control of half of the Sultan's army. I set up my archers, hand cannons, and onagers on the cliffs to fire on the Mongols when they charge through the pass. It is a little different from the Jadwiga level, as I can still use my original base and could send reinforcements, if I had any. As it stands, I don't really have much to send. I use the Bedouin chief to bait a third of their army into following me, and their cavalry come under fire by my archers. They clear out my first cliff position before moving on to the main battle with my ally. Unfortunately, I didn't get all the upgrades for him, and most of his men fall to the powerful Mongol units. The cliffs help, but Mangudai are extremely powerful and can shoot down my men. We win the battle, but have almost nothing left over, and the second wave is approaching. The second wave is too much, cutting through our line in moments and moving on towards my base. I've been training more Mamluks, but I only have one castle, and they train slowly. The Mongol army destroys my base, reaching my castle, which kills some of them, but not nearly enough, and it falls as well. I have Baybars run away, but he can't do anything and is killed in a short chase. I begin again with a much more solid game plan. I survived until the battle, but was so weak that I didn't even make it to the final wave. I need to be a lot stronger, a lot faster, so I need to actually complete the side objectives. I send Baybars across the river to meet up with the two groups of scouts, which help me to have a more substantial starting army, and along the way I find another of the Gaia towers. The men get back in time to defend against the first raiding party, and for the first time I don't have to rely on my defensive buildings to survive. The attack on the second town starts, so I hire the Bedouin camels and ride down there, defeating them quite easily. After getting the resources, I have my men continue their ride to meet up with the last two scouting parties so that I have a large army. On their way back to my town, they find a Mongol camp and after destroying it, get 500 gold and the locations of 2 more camps. With my last 2 minutes until the Sultan arrives, I destroy the final 2 camps and train as many Mamluks as I can. This time I have a much larger force and a stronger economy to back it up for the Mongol invasion. I still place my archers on the cliffs, but this time I have a much larger army to back them up, and the production of more Mamluks and camels to reinforce. The first wave charges in, like last time, but this time I win the fight, with a lot more of my men and more of the Sultan's men remaining, although I did lose my archers, so I won't have them for the next wave. I train some more men while I wait for the second wave, although it is a slow production rate with just 2 stables and 1 castle. The second wave comes and it crushes right through our army, just like last time, but I take out more of its strength, and I have some backup troops to defend my town. Even these are not quite enough, but the Mongols get distracted by my tower and houses, which gives me some more time. I finally train up enough camels to kill them, which triggers the third and final wave. It's bigger than the first 2, and I don't really have much of a chance when it arrives, with only a small force to defend with. They don't even bother with the northern path and head straight for my own town. I meet them in battle, but my men get pushed back to the castle and it gets destroyed. I have Baybars ride away and try and figure something out, but after leveling my base, the whole army locks onto him. I have a plan to hit and run my way through the army, but they are just too fast and too strong, and Baybars is eventually killed. In my next attempt, I do the beginning much the same, completing all the objectives and upgrading my units, but this time I am going to focus on archers, to follow the theme of the level and take advantage of all the cliffs once the attack comes in. I make as many arbalests as I can, but the low population limit prevents me from making as many as I would like. I load 5 into each of the 2 forward towers to try and get some more use out of them, and put the rest up on the cliffs. I do still grab the cavalry upgrades so that Kutus will have stronger units, and keep my options open going forward. The first wave comes again, and this time it's held up for a little longer by my towers. They don't deal a lot of damage, but it does extend the fight. I try to save the towers with my cavalry, but that is a mistake. It pulls them away and into the fire from my archers, but it's too far from Sultan Kutus, and I end up fighting alone. My whole army is killed by just the first wave, and they totally avoid battle, instead heading for my town. I just can't seem to win. I had made a save just after Kutus arrived last time, so I wouldn't have to play through the opening again, and this time I put all of my archers on the northern cliff face, right next to the main army, to try and concentrate our strength, including the archers that had been in the towers. I set my onagers on attack ground so that I won't have to pay attention to them just as the first wave starts. They take down the towers first, but when they reach the cliff, the real battle begins. My onagers and archers deal tons of damage, and I have a wall of camels, cavalry archers, and Mamluks to stop the enemy from reaching my archers. I do still lose a lot of arbalests to their Mangudai, but for the first time I actually have some left over. With the pop space opened up by the battle, I can also train as many more Mamluks as I can. With our main army having moved forward, I transfer my arbalests down to the next cliff, although I time it poorly and they aren't in position for when the second wave arrives. It's not the end of the world though, and I still manage to fight off the second wave, once again with major losses. While I can keep sending in more men, the Sultan cannot, and his army is nearly wiped out during the second wave. I bring my archers and onagers to the final cliff to prepare for the third wave, with, I think, my best chance yet. I keep Baibars on the cliff with the archers so that I can keep an eye on him and evacuate him if necessary. When they reach the cliff, the Mangudai and Khans target my archers first, taking them out quickly before moving on to our cavalry. I have to pull Baibars back to the castle, and we are just so heavily outnumbered that our army is destroyed, but not before taking out more of the third wave than ever before. I think I may be able to defeat what's left with just my town and the men that I can train, so I make more Mamluks and abandon the east side of my town. The Mongols spend time on my tower, and my town center, and my houses, giving me the time I need. I use my Mamluks to pull part of their army towards my castle, where they can defeat them in relative safety. I am prepared to fight the final group when they reach my castle, but killing just one causes them to retreat, and my men chase them back towards their camp, winning the scenario. That was a pretty hard and fun level. I had to restart a bunch of times, and I still only barely made it through the final wave. I think it's pretty cool how they keep finding new stories from the medieval period to make campaigns of. If anyone else is interested in playing it, you have to download it from the Mods tab on the menu screen, then select it from the Custom Scenario tab in the Campaign Selection page. I ended with a score of 19,700. If you played the scenario yourself, tell me what score you got, and if you were able to get a higher score than me. I ended up losing a lot of points when my buildings got destroyed, so I think you could probably get ahead of me by saving them. I'll be back to my normal challenges next week, but please, let me know if you want me to cover new campaigns like this when they are released. Have a good one.